We're going to go ahead and get started with sales tax and discounts. If you did not do your work from yesterday, you need to go back and do that as well. I had 7 people out of the 18 or 19 that are in here that turned it in, and one of those did not submit the correct assignment. So I had 6 assignments from this class yesterday. You are obtaining absences. Now, here's what's going to happen. When you get over that 8th absence, you fail. You fail. If you're already over that, the only way that you can pass the class is if I decide that you're worthy enough to pass the class. And if you're not doing your work on your days off, I'm not going to bump your grade to pass you. I'm not going to do it. So you guys need to make sure that on your days off, you are working. We can't just take Wednesday off. It's still a school day. You can't take, you sitting in here right now cannot take Monday and Tuesday off. It is still a school day. You're on the Zoom, but then you never do the assignments. And then we have to play catch up. Me and Ms. Walser have to work our tails off to play catch up to get A days, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday done while we're doing Thursday and Friday assignments. We cannot keep doing that. We cannot keep doing that. You have got to take some responsibility for yourself. Otherwise, you're going to be a freshman again next year. We have got to work a little harder than what we're working. The stuff that we do today is not hard. When you finish, do your assignment. Your assignments do not take very long. You had 2 worksheets to do yesterday. I told you to choose one. It was literally putting things together. Should have taken you maybe 15 minutes. Tops 30. That's not even an hour that I'm supposed to be teaching you. Does everybody understand that? Wednesdays are easy days for you to get things done. Also, you can go back and do work that you haven't done. Everything is fixable. But if you're going to be lazy, I'm not helping fix it. I'm not helping fix it if you're not going to put forth any effort. We're working too hard. Ms. Walser is working her tail off in here. She is working too hard to catch too many people up. And it's not just Thursday and Friday. It's Monday and Tuesday. We're working like that too. So don't think I'm just talking about the people sitting in here. I'm talking about the people that are everywhere. It's crazy. All right. So today, everything is really simple. It is really simple. So pay attention. Once you finish today's work, go back and do yesterday's or Mondays or Tuesdays or anything. Okay, anything. If you need help, ask us. If you don't, get your work done. Just get it done. Okay, we're doing tax and discount. It is so easy. It's one simple formula. If it's tax, it's add. If it's discount, it's multiply. Because tax, you're adding to your price. Discount, you're taking it off. Okay, so all we're doing on the very beginning is changing a percent to a decimal or a decimal to a percent. So the way that you do that, for the first row, you're going to put a decimal behind your percent right there, because that's a whole number. If we wrote it out as a decimal, it'd be 13.0. You move your decimal 2 places backwards or to the left. And I always put a 0 in front. You don't have to, but your decimal is 0.13. You have questions like this on your homework. How long is this going to take you? 2 seconds. Okay, 2 seconds. This one already has a decimal. You just take the decimal that it already has, move it 2 places, and rewrite it, 0.156. You can put a 0 in front or not. It's up to you. We put the decimal behind the whole number. We move it 2 places. The reason I make these little bumps is because if you have an empty bump, you put a 0 in it. So 2% is 0.02. If you want to put a 0 in front, you can. If you don't, you don't have to. Same thing with 7%. You're going to put the decimal in the back. 2 bumps. Fill in the empty one with a 0, and 7% is 0.07. Now to go the other way, you would just reverse it. So if I'm taking a decimal to a percent, I go to the right 2 places. So that gives me 25%. The next one, 2 places. You get 33.7 and you put your percent sign. The next one, 2 places back, you get 2.5%. One more, 2 places, it went behind the 1, and it becomes 1%. All right, so if you got a 93 on the test, what percentage did you get wrong? Be careful on this one. If you got a 93, how would you figure out what you got wrong? Not about it. Subtracted from 100. So we could get 100, but we only got a 93. That means we missed 7 points. But we want to write that as a percent. It's just 7%. Okay, so 7%. Why didn't we move the decimal? Because this is, if you get a 93, it's actually a 0.93%. Does that make sense? This is a weird question. We'll move on to the next. You got an 88.3. What percentage did you get wrong? We're going to do the same thing. It was out of 100. We're going to subtract our 88.3. And we get 11.7. So we got 11.7 wrong. So watch that. The reason we subtracted was because it said wrong. So now look at this one. If you got 13% wrong on the test, what grade did you get on the test? So you missed 13%. How do you figure out your grade? Same thing, 100 minus 13. And if you need your calculator, you would get an 87%. All right. So then the real stuff that we get into, and there's a lot of wordage down here, but I'm going to show you like an easier way. Don't keep reading into it or anything like that. Sales tax is a percent of the purchase price that is paid in addition to the purchase price. So when you go to a store and you see a shirt for $5, you don't go up to the register and pay $5 for it. Okay, they add the tax on. So that's sales tax. Your total price is the $5 for the shirt plus whatever the tax percentage is. Okay, so it might be $5.65. Got it? All right, so that's all that's describing. So here's a way to calculate it. We'll talk about that in a minute. And then we're going to show all of this. So an example is an iPod costs $120. The tax is 6.75%. So our formula looks like this. The price, so if we were talking about that shirt costs $5. Times 1 plus our percent. This is for tax. For discount, and I just put DISCT for discount, it is the same exact formula, except for it's minus because we're taking away. All right. So then what we have here, we're going to talk about this one time and then I'm going to fill in these. Okay. So don't fill in the blanks yet. We're going to look at this. A McDonald's meal costs $8. This should go, that 180 should go with that problem. Mark it off from right here. The sales tax in North Carolina is 6.75%. Don't worry about the blanks just yet. What is our price for our McDonald's meal? Talk. What's the price for our McDonald's meal? $8. We're doing tax. So we're doing 1 plus Okay, but we want to take our percent and make it a decimal. Okay, I know it's already a decimal, but we want to move it. Yes, we go backwards. So 0.0675. I'm going to put this together, and you literally just write it together, 1.0675. So when you're adding, you just squish it together. This number, this 1.0675 squished together, is your multiplier. Finish it out. We just put it into our calculator. 8 times 1.0675. And we get $8.54. So what's your total price? $8.54. Now, how would I figure out how much tax I actually paid? So your tax is your total price minus whatever your cost was. So your total price was $8.54. Our cost of our meal was $8. So 54 cents was our tax. 54 cents. All right, so we're going to do it again. We have a suit that costs $4.50. Our tax is 8%. So we're going to start with our formula. What's our price of our new suit? We're doing tax, so it's 1 plus. And then take that 8% and make it a decimal. So move 2 places and fill in the hole. So it's 0.08. We're going to put this part together. So we get 450 times 1.08. And remember, what's in parentheses is your multiplier. Finish it out to get your total price, 450 times 1.08 gives you 486. So then to find your tax, you're going to do your total price, 486, minus the suit was actually 450. Use your calculator if you have to. You shouldn't have to on this one, but if you need to. Gives you $36. Same thing on the next one. What's your price of your one-night hotel stay? Yeah, remember I told you it was over here and it should have been here. So what's your price for your hotel stay? 180. Oh. It's just jacked up font. It's okay. Put it on the next line. 1 plus, because we're doing tax. Change this 15 to 0.15. Squish these together. So 180 times 1.15. And that gives you your multiplier. 1 plus 0.50. Go ahead and multiply it. And you get 207. And 207 is your total price. To figure out the tax, take your total price minus your original price that you paid for the hotel. And you get $27. Discount is the same way. It's just what I tell you. Subtract. It's the same way. So you won't squish them together here. You'll just really subtract them. Okay. So we're doing some more sales tax. Same thing happened on this one. This 345 needs to go on the Super Bowl ticket. 345. So the same thing happened on this one font wise. So make sure you mark that out. All right, still doing tax. So what's our price of our hammer? We're going to do 1 plus. Here's our decimal, move it 2 places. And 0.075. For tax, we just squish it together, 1.075. And again, all I'm doing is adding that up. So right there, 1 plus 0.075 is 1.075. This gives you your multiplier. And then when you put that in your calculator, you get 21.5, which is your total price, $21.50. If you give me 21.5, that's okay. And then remember to figure out how much tax, you take that $21.50 and you subtract your $20 initial payment. And when we do that, we get $1.50. New earbuds cost $40. The sales tax in Colorado is 6%. So what is the price that you paid for the earbuds? 40. It's tax, so it's 1 plus. And this 6 turns into 0.06. Squish them together, 1.06 is your multiplier. $40 times 1.06 is 42.4 or $42.40. And then to find your tax, take that 42.4 and subtract the 40, and you get $2.40. Again, minus 40 is $2.40. Last tax. What's the price of the Super Bowl ticket? Mm-hmm. 1 plus because we're doing tax, and instead of 12%, we're just doing 0.12. Squish them together, 345 times 1.112. Gives you 386.4. So your multiplier was the parenthesis, 1.12. Your total price was what you got in your calculator, 386.4. And then your tax, you're going to subtract your 345. And you get 41.4 or $41.40. So then discount is the same way, just minus, okay? So jump into discount. Tyra received a 6% discount on her $80 grocery bill. So how much did she pay? It's going to be price 1 minus your percent. That's exactly how we're going to do it. So how much did she pay for her groceries? $80. 1 minus. It was 6%. I'm going to write it up here so we can see it a little better. I'm going to move it 2 decimal places to get 0.06. Now, the difference is, this is like your grades, 100 minus 6. Everybody see that? It's the same thing. 1 minus 0.06 gives us 0.94. That is your multiplier. So same thing we did last time. We're just subtracting. So the number inside of your parentheses is your multiplier. Put it in the calculator. 80 times 0.94 gives you 75.2. So the total price for her groceries was $75.20. And then this should say discount. How do I figure out how much discount she got? Same way we found out how much tax, right? Except we're going to do it opposite. Which one's your big number? 80 minus 75.20. So $4.80. If you happen to put it in there backwards, it's okay. It'll just give you the negative number. Just make it always positive. Okay. So if you screw up which way you subtract it, just always make that a positive number. All right. Lowe's has a 15% off sale on a $250 table saw. So what is your price of that saw? $250. We're doing a discount, so it's going to be 1 minus. It's 15%. So I move my decimal twice and I get 0.15. To find your multiplier, do what's in parentheses right here, 1 minus 0.15. And you get 0.85. Put that in your calculator. And you get that your discounted price is $212.50. And if you give me 212.5, that is perfectly fine as well. We just know we're dealing with money, so we're going to have 50 cents on the end. Again, this should say discount. We started at $250. We're going to find the discount after $212.50. And I get 37.5. Again, just subtract them. Doesn't matter which way you subtract them. If you did it the other way, it's just going to give you a negative. Always use the positive. Okay. All right, Jackson gets a 2.5% discount by paying his $120 cable bill early. So how much did Jackson pay for his cable? 1 minus, it is 2.5%. So we're going to move it 2 decimal places and add a 0 in front. So 0.025. When I put that together, I get 0.975. That is your multiplier. Multiply that by 120 to get your total price. And you're going to pay only $117. That's a difference of how much? 3. And again, it should be discount. Any questions on those 3? Same exact thing. Flip it. So on this one, you're going to tell me whether it's an increase or a decrease. So an increase is greater than 1. And a decrease, this says between 0 and 1. And I'll show you what that means in just a second. We'll talk about growth and decay soon. We're only looking at our multiplier. Okay, so just the number in parentheses. I don't care about the number in front. Remember, our price can change all it wants to. This is the number that tells us whether it's tax or discount. Okay, if it's bigger than 1, it's a tax. Remember, because we did 1 plus. If it's less than 1, it's going to be a discount. So this one is 0.85. 0.85. It is less than 1. So it is a decrease. It is a decrease. 1.30 is bigger than 1. So it's an increase. What about 0.95? It's a decrease because it's less than 1. And then 1.25 is increase. All right, so then it says percent of change, percent of change. All right, the ones with 1s are really easy. The percent of change is whatever is behind the 1. So on this one, it's 1.30. That would be 30%. So what would the bottom be if it's 1.25? 25%. All right, so your percent of change is how far that number is from 1. So think of it in terms of your grades, okay? Think of it in terms of your grades. If you had an 85, how far is that from 100? Okay, so we can do 100 minus 85 and we get 15. So you lost 15%. It was a change of 15%. What about a 95? How many points did you lose if you have a 95? 5%. That's it. So think of it in terms of grades. If it's above 1, how many extra credit points did you get? I got 30 extra credit points and 25 extra credit points. All right. We're going to do the same thing, real world problems. Be careful about this one. Jessica owns a jewelry store. She must keep track of all the taxes sold in her store. What is the taxes on the following items? So it's just asking for the taxes. Like, how much are you paying in tax? So emerald necklace price is 45. The tax is 5%. So remember, we do price. It's tax. So 1 plus the percent. So how much did she pay for the emerald necklace? Read your problem.
45.
45. 1 plus, it's 5%. So if we move it, it's 0.05. It's not asking for the multiplier, so you can go ahead and put that in there. And you get 47.25. But what does it ask you for? What is the what? What is the taxes? That was that very last one that we did where we subtracted. So we're going to do 47.25 minus 45. And when you do that in the calculator, it gives you 2.25. So again, if it asks you for total price, that's the 47.25. If it asks you for the multiplier, 1.05. Okay. It's asking us how much tax. All right, so let's look at pearl earrings. What's the cost of pearl earrings? $85. 1 plus, we have 7%, which will change to 0.07. We're going to put that in our calculator. And we get a total cost of 90.95. We can subtract 85 to get the tax. And our tax was $5.95. Again, if they ask you for total price, $90.95. If they ask you for the multiplier, squish it together, 1.07. We're not going to do this one. It is exactly the same. So we're going to move on. A dress shirt that normally costs $38.50 is on sale. So what does that mean? Which formula are we using? Plus or minus? Minus, because it's on sale for 30% off. What is the sales price of the shirt? So remember, it's going to be price 1 minus our percent. What's our price? $38.50. Yeah. 1 minus, it's 30%. So we move the decimal 2 places in front, which gives us 0.30. 38.50. 1 minus 0.30 gives us 26.95. All right. A tennis racket normally costs $65. It's on sale. So we're doing sale again for 20%. What's the sales price of the ticket, the tennis racket? So how much do we pay for the tennis racket? $65. 1 minus our percent is 20. So I'll move it 2 decimal places and get 0.20. Put it in your calculator, you get $52. Now we're going to see more questions like 4, 5, and 6, but the only thing that will change is the power on these. Okay. So here's what I'm saying. It looks just like this. Tomorrow or the next day when we do it, we're going to have a different power, and I'll explain where that comes from. Okay. You deposit $1,200 in a savings account that earns simple interest at a rate of 3% per year. How much will you have after 1 year? It says it earns. So does that mean you add or subtract? Add. So you're going to do the same thing that we just did, the price of the money, 1 plus your percent. And then our power is going to be to the number of years. We will not have a power today, okay, because our power will be 1, because we're only doing it for 1 year, 1 year, and 1 year. Did everybody see that? So a 1 power doesn't matter. 2 to the 1 is 2. 3 to the 1 is 3. So it doesn't matter. So this will only come in play when we move on to the next unit or the next lesson, right? So what's your price that you deposited? Yep. 1 plus, our rate is 3%. So we change it to a decimal and we get 0.03. Here's what I'm going to show you. If I put it to the 1, it gives me 1236. If I don't, it still gives me 1236. That 1 does not matter. Got it? So we get 1236. On the next one, we deposit $450. It earns, so we know we're adding 4%. So our price is $450. We're doing add 1 plus. 4% is 0.04. Again, it's for 1 year. In a day or two, that'll change to like 5 years, 3 years. They'll tell you how many years. That's the only difference in what we do next, okay? Put that in your calculator, 450 times 1.04 gives you 468. That's it. Water erosion. What does that mean? Erosion. No. Why? What's erosion mean? It's taking the dirt away, right? So if something is eroding, it's eating it away. So this is a takeaway. So this is a minus. It's getting rid of it. So we're going to do our price or our value, 1 minus our percent. The only value that they give you is that the square miles are approximately 11,800. Your percent is 1.5. So 11,800, 1 minus, we had 1.5%, which is 0.015. When I put that in my calculator, you guys see it, I get 11,623. And again, after 1 year, you can put the power up there. You don't have to. Again, tomorrow it might be 2, 3, 4 years. All right. Any questions? Flip it over. Look at how many problems you have for homework. Okay. You have these. These are really, really quick. When you flip it to the back, you'll see that it says markup or discount. Markup just means tax. Okay. Markup just means tax. And then let's look at 13 together because that's the one that most people miss. Everybody else is good. Yeah, it's right. All right. Is it an increase or decrease? Remember, if it's an increase, it's over 1. So look at just the parentheses. So just this part is what we're looking at. Is the first one, and this is your actual homework, okay? So make sure you're writing it down because this will give you some answers to your homework. Is this over 1 or under 1? Over, so it's an increase. How much over 1 is it? 85. That's literally all you do. I'm going to go to the other one that's over 1. We have 1.95. That's going to be an increase. How much over 1 is it? 95. All right. So the other two are decreases because they're under 1. Here's what I told you. Think about your grades. If you made a 30 on a test, how many points did you lose? How many? 70. So it's a 70%. How do you do that? 100 minus 30. Okay. What about if you made a 25? How many points did you lose? 75. So that's how you do the ones that are under 1. So think about your grades. How much did you lose? All right. All the rest are that same formula. They're not trying to get you to pull out the multiplier or anything like that. So when you do, I'm going to look at number 5 real fast. When you do this, you're going to do price and 1 plus your percent. And you're just going to put it in your calculator and give me the answer. So your price was 129.50. 1 plus 60%. You're going to move that decimal 2 places. So you get 0.60 and literally put it in your calculator. And you get 207.20. That's all I need to see. That's it. Okay, if you want to make a line right here, underneath here, it's price 1 minus your percent. So all 4 of these 9 through 12 are discount. Got it? So don't forget to flip your formula. When we go back to the front, these are the same way. This one was 20% off. So that means we're going to subtract. 20% off is subtract. This one says an employee discount. What's that one gonna be? Plus or minus? Subtract, a discount takes off. Now you still have to do the work. That's not the answer. Okay, you have to actually find the answer. And then this one says water evaporates. What's that mean?
It's taking away.
Yeah, it gets less. So this one is also 1 minus. Couple more things. How do we change these? I'm going to do one of each of these for you. 67, you'll put the decimal and move it 2 places and get 0.67. That's the whole top row. That's what you're going to do. On the bottom row, you're going to move it backwards 2 places. So you get 92.3 and make sure you put your percent sign. That's the whole second row. Okay. Any questions?
No.
Should not take you very long to do this.
What's this last
Let's see.
one?
All right. I'm going to stop sharing and stop recording.